High level business video alert. Oh my God, high level, very advanced. Look, if you want to get rich, you should only be building one of two different types of businesses. Number one question I always get asked, Alex, what type of business should I build, or what should I be doing with my business? And it's because people are stuck in this like weird transgender hermaphrodite business type where they aren't really sure what their business is or what they want to do with it. They're trying to do one thing, then they're trying to do another thing. They don't know what type of business to start, and they're trying to do two different things at once, which results in some very awkward situations similar to a dude taking a shit in the girl's room. Is it legal? Yes, in some states. Is it a good experience for anyone involved? No, not really. It just leads to a lot of confusion, which I am here to clear up today. Because like I said, if you want to make a lot of money, whether you are a beginner or a person that's experienced in business, you need to be building one of these two different businesses, and they should not intersect with each other. They should not cross, or you are in for a bad time. And I'm going to clear that up in this video. In fact, I'm going to trick you. I'm going to manipulate you. Prepare yourself. Clean your mental rectum, because I'm about to butt fuck your mind. See, I hate making YouTube content. I really don't enjoy it. There's a reason why the effort I'm willing to put into these videos tops out at me flipping on this webcam and talking at this desk. I will not do the high effort stuff you see all over YouTube. You see Iman Gagoozle out there filming himself in cars. You see all these young gun influencers filming themselves, doing days in a life, meeting celebrities, doing podcasts, doing these interviews, going out there making these crazy content of them traveling on the road. I will not fucking do that. I will not leave my house. More so, I will not leave this fucking room when it comes to making content. This is the peak because I fucking hate it. And do you want to know why? It's because over my career, I built a net worth of over $200 million, building SaaS and tech companies, doing some pretty advanced business stuff. I like the high level stuff like building cultures, building brands, building new tech. That excites me. And you know what? No one wants to fucking do that. No one wants to fucking talk about that. If I make a video on how to build a 9-figure SaaS company step by step by perfecting your customer onboarding, lowering churn, increasing your MRR, building a good team culture, no one fucking watches it because you guys suck. But if I make a fucking video on the 3 coolest ways to get rich fast by flipping copy and paste AI agents to businesses, or how to get rich in a year without talent and without investing money, man, you motherfuckers climb all over. You were just fucking at like a monkey on a football. So in order to talk about things that I really want to talk about, I have to make these little coloring book-like videos that trick you into learning advanced high-level business lessons, which I'm going to trick you into learning today. What I'm going to teach you today, yes, will actually help you make money quick, very quickly actually, because your business is going to be 10 times more efficient because you're building the right fucking business if you're a beginner, or this is going to take your business to the next level because you stop doing beginner shit in your advanced businesses. And while you're going to learn something that's going to make you money, ooh, lightning fast, ooh, very sexy, very kinky kind of quick money coming in. You're going to love it. Real here in my garage kind of shit. But what this is actually going to do is impart a business lesson onto you that if you get in the business and actually stick to it, which like 1 out of 5,000 people watching this channel will actually do, it is going to make you so much more money throughout your lifetime and clear up so much confusion. So let's begin. No more jokes, no more diddling around. I won't even talk about butt fucking you anymore. We're just going to get straight to the quality content here. So what are these 2 businesses that you need to build? Now look, we're going to hop over to the whiteboard. I'm going to draw terrible drawings that are terribly unexistive with this video. They're not helpful, but they help me out. We'll be over there in a second. But I need to tell you what these 2 businesses are. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, what type of business model is it? Like opening a Shopify store or flipping AI agents to dentists? No, it's nothing fucking like that. It's 2 different types of businesses and business focuses. See, the reason why people are really bad at building businesses at first, at high levels and even at low levels, is they don't know what the fuck they're trying to do. Are they trying to make money? Are they trying to make billions of dollars? Are they trying to build the next big tech SaaS company? Or are they trying to build a long-term business? Are they trying to build a short-term business? They don't really fucking know. They just want to make money. And making money is a really weird thing because the best ways to make money is sometimes not making money. It's not pursuing making money. It's just pursuing different things I'm going to cover in this video. But sometimes the best way to make money is not pursuing long-term things. It's being very short-term, and it's being very short-term cash flow focused. It depends on what your goals are and what you want to do and what stage of business you are and how long you're willing to wait and the type of life that you're wanting to have. Now, trust me, we're going to get very defined here. I'm going to define exactly what you need to be doing. But what I'm trying to say here is you need to be either focusing on building straight up motherfucking cash flow businesses, or you need to be straight up building long-term brands focused on customer retention. You shouldn't really be doing both of them. It's like over here you have a cow, over here you have a monkey. If you make the monkey fuck the cow, you're going to end up with terrible results. The monkeys need to stick with the monkeys. The cows need to stick with the cows. They don't need to be intermingling. The second they do, everything gets really, really weird. So let me explain. As I pull up our low quality, low effort whiteboard of truth and justice, yes, like I said before, we're sticking to that low effort, no effects Straight up used condom tampon levels of content. That's what you guys came for. That's what I'm going to deliver. You're going to need to take a shower after this. So what are these two different types of business models? Now, bear with me. You're going to have to give me 10 minutes here. If you want to go on to making lots of money, enough to pay for your entire life, or go on to make so much money that your friends go, wow, he's really rich. You're gonna have to let me elaborate here. You're gonna have to put everything away, not click on the Taylor Swift video, not be on Twitter for 5 minutes. If you can do that, maybe you have a future. If you can't, you're gonna be a fucking failure anyways. So you might as well leave and go watch whatever fucking thing you're gonna watch on YouTube anyways. So look, what do I mean when people are confused about the type of business they want to build? Because that's what I get asked all the time. It's always, what business do I build? Or should I go and do this next thing with my business? How do I get to the next level? And so you have to understand that there is cash flow businesses, which in short are going to be short-term focused businesses where your goal is to make money now to pay for your shit or pay for your lifestyle, whatever you want to do. But these businesses have severe cons. Now, on the other side, there is long-term brands focused on customer retention. I'm just going to put CR right here. I'm not writing all that out for you. Now, these are also extremely good, but the focus on these is building something that grows over time and grows in value as an asset, and over time consistently grows whether you are there or not eventually, and can last decades and scales to very high levels. But these type of businesses also have massive cons that are the flip side of these businesses right here. And the problem is people try to build a business that's a little bit of this, and they try to build a little bit of this right here, or they try to turn, even worse, one of these motherfuckers into one of these, and it doesn't work. And so they get stuck at these various levels, or they end up getting wrecked early on because they're trying to build these two things at the same time instead of understanding what they're trying to do. So when people ask me what type of business should I build, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what are you trying to do in your life right now? What are your actual goals? What are you trying to do? What's the point of this business? So let me give you an example. So I'm on a stream the other day answering customer questions, and I have this guy with an agency that's making $100,000 a month at like a 60-70% profit margin. And so he asked me like, hey, Alex, so I have this business with these numbers. What should I do to get to the next level? How do I get to 500,000 a month? How do I get to $1 million per month? And because agencies are hard to scale, should I pivot to a SaaS business? Should I pivot to an e-commerce business to get to these levels? And so these are all different complex questions right here. And you have to turn around and ask the person, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make 60, 70,000 a month in profit? Are you trying to make 300,000 a month in profit that you take home while your business does 500,000 a month? Or are you trying to build a long-term brand that can scale to $100 million, $200 million valuation? And this is where the person starts to get really confused. Do you want to go build a SaaS business? Or do you want to go build a Shopify business or an e-commerce business that scales to the moon? Or do you want to make money right now? Can you wait 2 years to make money? Can you wait 5 years to make money and income? Do you want to scale very fast and build a business that's very, very, very extremely valuable? Or do you want to make money as you scale up? These are all different conflicting things, because what happens in business is the more you focus on immediate cash flow, the less you're going to get a long-term brand that grows and scales and can grow quickly. So a really obvious example of this is when people are running ads. One of the reasons why people get stuck all the time when they're running ads is they start ads and they create a cash flow business. And let's say they get to 100K a month pretty quickly. Okay. And they're at like a 3x profit margin. But then what happens is they start scaling their ads. They get to 200K a month and the profit margin gets down to 2x. Okay. Or maybe 1.5x. And they're saying like, well, this isn't worth it. I got to 200K a month, but I'm making way less profit margin. And what do I do? I'm getting stuck. And then they maybe get to like 250K a month and it's just breaking even or losing a bit of money. They're at like 0.8. And they're like, well, Alex, this weird thing is fucking happening in my ads. They're not making money anymore. So how do I go and keep the profit margins when I was at 100K a month, but make $1 million per month? And my answer to them most of the time is you fucking can't. You can't do it. Fuck you. Go home. And they're very confused by this. So like, what, there isn't some secret in the ad platforms that I can use to make free money and print money on command? And the answer is no. See, what happens at this point right here, and the reason why most people get stuck as they're trying to scale up their ads, is because when you get into bigger markets or you need to get more customers in, you start getting into a mass market. Now, you need to understand, in this mass market, you're no longer operating this little minnow pool where there's little plankton that you're competing with, and basically you're running a very unoptimized, unscalable business, but it's very profitable because it's unscalable and unoptimized, and nobody's trying to actually make that money. You have to understand a business that's doing $100 million per year isn't interested in your $1 million per year market that you're working in right there. It's not big enough for them to give any fucks right there. So you're not competing with them. But when you start getting to $3 million, $5 million per year, you suddenly start breaking into these bigger oceans where there's giant sharks swimming around. I'd actually compare them more to very patient whales. And the way they make money is, let's say they're spending $1 million a month on ads, and they'll only make, in some cases, like 100,000 back on that million they spend. You're like, how do they make money? It's because on that 100,000 back over the course of 2 years, they're going to make 2 to 3 million back. Or if they're really fucking smart, over the course of years, they're only going to make 1 million back. And you're probably confused, like, what the fuck? Why is this person only caring about making 1 million back? Because what they're doing right here is different than what you're doing. See, what they're doing is they're playing this very patient game. One of the easiest ways to win in business is to be extremely, extremely, extremely fucking patient. A really good example of this is going to be if you've watched Alex Hormozi's info brand and compare it to other people's info brands. No one has ever sold $106 million in product in a day. No one has ever taken their /info/personal brand to, I'm not going to talk about their numbers they're doing, but they're doing phenomenal. No one's ever done that before. The reason why is because everybody running Tai Lopez personal brand like businesses went for cash flow. They didn't build a long-term customer retention brand like Alex did. If you notice, he made content for years before selling anything. Like, you couldn't buy anything from other than a $1 book for years. So all the effort, all the money that Alex invested into it didn't come back to him until years later. Now, to put it in another perspective right here, most SaaS companies that you're dealing with, most big companies, most e-commerce brands, their objective is not making cash flow. It is growth. For example, if you see Gymshark, I think they did like $1 billion in revenue and made like $10 million profit or something like that in 1 year. Now you're probably thinking, well, Gymshark sounds like a terrible fucking business. No, it's because the thing they're focusing on is growth. Gymshark is probably valued at billions of dollars, or I don't fucking know. I don't know their exact numbers. I'm using as an example right here. If you're going out there and you're running your little e-commerce store and you're trying to make a 3x profit upfront on your ads, and then you're competing in the same ad space, in the same market as Gymshark, who's trying to make no money on their ads, they're fine with like a 0.01% profit margin. Who is going to be able to spend more on ads? Who's going to be able to spend more to get a customer? Who's going to have the better customer experience? Because all their money is going into the customer experience, ads, and growth of their business. All your money is going back into your pocket. You won't be able to compete. You just simply can't. That's the dumbest, most retarded thing I've ever fucking heard. How are you supposed to have, if there's 2 restaurants on the street and both businesses are making $100,000 a month, which business is going to be better? The one restaurant that is pocketing $90,000 a month or the business that is taking that $90,000 a month that the other business is profiting and putting it back into their business and then building a Stave 5 McDonald's Jungle Gym playpen and getting in a 5-star Michelin chef from France in the back? Who's going to have the better business? It's going to be restaurant number 2. They're going to shit all over it. They're going to pull down their pants and give a midnight Chipotle Arby's rager all over the other business. So you have to keep this in mind right here, because this is what most people don't understand. They say, how do I get to the next level? How do I build a Gymshark? How do I build an Alex Hormozi-like brand? How do I go and build a ClickFunnels? How do I go and build a Hyros? How do I go and build a Slack? Well, you have to set your goals. And you have to understand that sometimes going and building one of these brands, that restaurant I talked about that is making $100,000 a month and reinvesting $100,000 a month, or even worse, what actually happens is you're competing with restaurants that make $100,000 per month. They go and spend that $100,000 per month back on the business, and then they go and raise another $1 million based on that, and then they invest that $1 million back in the business. You just will not compete with them. But here is the point right here, because you're probably thinking, oh, okay, cool. So Alex is just saying, I don't get to make money ever, and I just have to like not make money and sacrifice for 10 years straight. No. What I'm saying is understand your fucking priorities. If you want to make $100,000, $200,000 per month profit, you need to build a very, very different business than a business that's trying to scale to a $100 million valuation. If you come out the gates and you're trying to make $100,000, $200,000 a month profit very quickly, the chance of you building a $100 million valuation business is essentially zero. It's not going to happen because you don't have the same oomph behind your business as the businesses that are. So for example, I have one of the larger tracking and analytics companies in this space, Hyros. it gets really good fucking results for the customers. We have literally customer support agents, one-to-one when people come on, that chase you around, make sure you get success. The amount of effort and money we've invested to make sure when you sign up for this fucking thing that you get to the point where you get a result is ridiculous. The amount we've invested in the product is ridiculous. This is why I see all these tracking companies pop up all the time. They claim to be able to compete with Hyros, and they just can't, because there's one thing they're really messing up here, is they're trying to make money. They're like, okay, we're going to operate at a 50% profit margin. We're trying to scale our SaaS company to compete with Hyros. No, motherfucker, I'll run fucking ads and I'll wait 3 years to make my money back. Dude, if I can throw $1 million at ads and make $3 million back over 3 years, that's fucking great. That's a better investment I can ever get investing in anything. And I'll do that. So your little tracking company where you're not investing anything back in your customer results and success and everything, it's just not going to do it, buddy. It's not going to work out. And so you can see these businesses that go and try to compete with mine, they can't by default because they don't understand the type of business that they're trying to create, which then all circles back to the point I'm trying to make here. When people ask me what type of business they want to build or what they should do in their business, you have to ask yourself, what type of business do you want to build? And these are the things you need to focus on based on your priorities. Look, if you want to make 100, 200K a month, 50K a month right now, that's fine. You shouldn't feel guilty about that. It's completely fine to just want to make a lot of money and fuck off, or just focus on that right now. In fact, if you're just starting off in business, focusing on cash flow businesses probably is the better thing to do because you don't have any money. And so that limits your ability to invest in your businesses. And also, if you're building a long-term focused business, say you're building something like a Gymshark, say you're building something like a Hyros, say you're building something like a Pudgy Penguins, a Tinder, whatever the fuck you're trying to build, say you're building a long-term business right now, you really don't want to go and take massive investments and put in massive investments in something when you have no experience in business whatsoever. So let's talk about cash flow first. If you're building a cash flow type business, what do you want? You need a business where you're able to sell something at extremely high profit margins. So here's the nuts and bolts of it. If you're trying to sell something at high profit margins, you're not going to be able to do that much R&D. So you're not going to have a unique product. In order to create a very, very unique product, you're going to need to invest a lot of time, research, and everything that goes into it, and do a lot of special things and invest up front. So you're not going to have a lot of R&D into it. You're not going to be able to benefit from a unique product. You're probably going to have a very easy to reproduce product. So for example, if you look at a lot of small e-commerce businesses, they sell shirts, they sell supplements, they sell things that are very easy to create, that are very similar to everything else out there. Because when you sell things that are similar to everything else out there, it means that they're easy to reproduce. The way to reproduce them has been made. There are tools and everything exists that makes it easy to do, which allows you to have high profit margins. If you look at most cash flow businesses, the best examples are agencies, or people reselling AI agents to businesses, people selling freelance work or design. Drop shipping was very popular in e-commerce, but the profit margins of that are so small these days. I don't know how that's doing. But small level e-commerce businesses where they're selling products that are very similar to other products or businesses out there. These are based on really clever, but also very easy to reproduce and copy business model. This is why course seller businesses are so popular with the lower level entrepreneurs. I'm not saying gurus and people on YouTube selling courses are low level entrepreneurs in a negative way. I'm saying if your business is in these areas, you're not dealing with a well-built, well-structured business. The second you stop making content, the second you stop pumping out courses, you lose all your money. That's not a good business. And a lot of the times, if you look at course businesses, you look at these e-commerce businesses, you look at these agencies, they become very hard to scale because they don't keep customers. There's two reasons for this. One, the product isn't unique. There's 1,000 other people competing with them. And so it's reproduced very easily. That means when you get to scale, it becomes hard because then you start dealing with people in that big shark category that are willing to invest tons of money that you're not willing to invest back in the business because you're making something that's so easy to reproduce and cash flow focused. They also don't keep customers. One, because the product's not unique. You have to have a unique edge to keep customers. To have a unique edge, you usually have to invest back in your business and your brand. And then two, because of the structure of the business, you really can't get that good of customer results, because to get phenomenal customer results, you have to do something special that other people can't do. So what does this all mean? I'm sure if you're watching me say this right now, it seems like I'm talking down to people that build businesses like this. No, you just have to understand this is not the way you want to go. You want to go and make something that's easy to reproduce and fast and able to make money with that. So examples of this are agency businesses, courses, low-level e-commerce, very low-level SaaS, like the vibe coding where you go and make a vibe coding app and then you sell it to local businesses. Are these apps going to go and be the next $100 million, $200 billion, zillion-dollar SaaS company? No, not at all. Are they capable of generating 30, 40K a month at like a 90% profit margin? 100%. The problem with those businesses, again, is once you start getting to 100, 200K a month, they're going to get replicated if they're profitable enough. Once you get into a business niche where it's able to generate enough revenue, that's when big dogs start coming in and they start fucking with your shit. So what you want to do is, if you want to be a cash flow motherfucker, is you want to focus on building little cash flow businesses that make 30, 50K a month, and you want to master these little niches right there. This is why you see in low-level e-commerce, instead of having one giant brand, the e-commerce people usually have like 10 different stores that are all very cash flow focused. It's because you can't scale these type of businesses, which is fine. So if you want to get to the next level and you're focused on cash flow, you want to have lots of littler businesses, or you want to replicate a very clever model that doesn't scale, but makes its money based on being clever. So making a little vibe coding app, no, it's not going to scale because you're focusing on a little clever thing that generates 30, 50K a month, but you can make a lot of them, or you can reproduce them very quickly, or you can make them without effort and cash flow them. And so that's what you want to focus on. If you're cash flow focused, do not focus on building a long-term brand. Don't focus on making the next billion-dollar thing. Don't focus on scaling your company to the moon. Focus on the cash flow, and then focus on slowly scaling that up with the margins that you have. But understand those margins are going to get tighter the longer the business exists and the more you try to scale it up. This is fine. This is the model that you're in. Now, my suggestion to you is then use this cash flow to build one of these. And then once you build one of these, do not confuse this motherfucking thing with this motherfucking thing. Okay? Here's why. So for example, at Hyros, I'm building our next product, Hyros Air, right now. It's an AI agent. You can slap it on a Shopify store. It increases sales by 2, 3, sometimes 7, 10%. It fucking works. It's actually incredible. I'm not here to pump Hyros Air to you. I'm here to describe the launching of a new product and how I'm doing it. So I could easily put Hyros Air out there, run ads, and get this business to $1 million a month super duper incredibly quickly at a pretty damn high profit margin. But here's the thing. The business would be short-term and it would suck ass because we haven't taken the time to perfect and master the product. And then what's going to happen if I do that, someone else will go replicate the product very, very quickly and then do it at no profit margin and go snuff it out because they will have the better product. Instead, what I am doing at Hyros Air right now is we're slowly launching it, getting customers in, and I'm making sure we have a funnel right here that makes it so when the customer comes in for free, they get all the way to the point where they get a result and become a customer for life. And I want to see this happen with near 90% consistency. So when Dropbox originally started, you remember Dropbox, you probably used it back in the 2010s. About 5% of the people that joined Dropbox actually ended up using Dropbox and sticking with the product. If you remember back then, it was one of the most viral sticky products of all time. So that might be surprising to you. What did Dropbox do? They didn't make any money for literally forever. Like forever, they didn't make any money at all, because of that 5% thing right there. And they kept raising money and working on the product, raising money, working the product, building the brand. And eventually they got their success rate to 90%. And then they started scaling the product, and then they started scaling it out. And as soon as they made money doing that, they took all that money, reinvested it, and then raised fuck tons of money at a huge valuation. So they basically not only kept not making money, they didn't raise money and then used all that money while still not making money to grow the product. And so what did they focus on? Instead of making money in the business, what they focused on was getting, first, the product absolutely perfect. You can't do this if you're trying to build a cash flow business. You can't just sit and work on the product and have people come into your funnels and analyze every tiny little thing they do and perfect it and then push the product. You don't have time to do that. You also don't have time as you're doing this to reinvest every dollar you make back into the product and then use that as an example to go back and raise money. Now, I don't have to raise money for my businesses because I've built a lot of profitable businesses and I have a lot of money to invest. That's the benefit I have from originally being good at making cash flow businesses. I made all sorts of little micro SaaSes. I sold courses. I had SEO outsourcing services, basically an agency, but it was an automated agency. I did all those things. None of those businesses could really scale past 100K a month, but I had like 5 or 6 of them, all pumping out 50 to 100,000 a month. That's where a lot of the cash flow came from that originally started Hyros. So I did this thing right here and I focused on this thing, and then I built the long-term brand Hyros. But you don't have the luxury of doing this thing that Dropbox did right here. But you have to think on yourself. A lot of people, they go and build companies that are SaaS companies, like, how do I get to the next level? Well, here's how Dropbox got to the next level. They spent so much time making sure every customer that came in the door with almost 100% ratio came through, got the product, went all the way through the product, and this took them a year, 2 years to get perfect, got to the product, and then got to that result, which was very good. And then every dollar that came from that result they did, they reinvested in making the product and scaling it larger. That resulted in a company that at this point is worth $8 billion. So the person that did this made a lot more fucking money than the person that made this. But if you're a person that is trying to generate cash flow, you're not going to be able to do that. And so people ask me, how do I get to the next level of my SaaS business or the thing I'm going to do this? I say, you're going to need to take time and make sure every single customer that comes in gets a result. Every single customer is happy. And that's going to take a lot of time of not launching the product. For example, if I took HighRisk Air right now and sent it out to my entire email list, I let in everybody I knew. I ran ads. I was pumping it on this YouTube channel. I was talking about it, blowing up and all that. It would be like every other SaaS business you ever see these influencers launch online. Have you ever noticed that any of like the gurus on YouTube, they launch SaaS and software companies and none of them ever go anywhere? It's because they overload them with shit tons of customers to cash flow them very quickly. And then 90% of the customers do not stay. The only way your brand and you're going to become a billionaire or 100 millionaire or 50 millionaire or whatever, you get to these points is you have to get customers in and they have to stay for a really long fucking time. And they have to continue to buy from you for a very long fucking time. What does this take? Making a product that's unique and has a huge edge. Huge amounts of R&D behind it, really special people working at your company, a brand that people love interacting with, and a very optimized, very high effort process that you put years into of getting the customer to buy the first product, use the product, and then stay forever. This takes a very long time and it's not very profitable up front, but it builds massive assets that grow. And so the thing I focus on when I'm making money is this first. If I were to get 10,000 customers in HighRisk Air tomorrow, but 90%, 70% of them didn't get to the end result, guess what? The business is a failure. It doesn't work. There's no point in me even making a single dollar or keeping a single dollar there if I'm trying to become a billionaire, which is what I'm trying to do with my businesses. And the way I'm trying to become a billionaire is not by taking money out of this pot right here and stacking it up like a little goblin. I'm trying to build an asset similar to Dropbox that is worth $1 billion. The process of doing that is very different than going and making cash flow here. So again, when people ask me, how do I take my SaaS or agency to the next level? You got to focus on growing the asset. This means not cash flowing it. A lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to go and spend $100 on ads and then make their money back 2 years later. They don't want to run a business that runs at zero profit margin. And so what they try to do is they try to turn their agency or their e-commerce store into a long-term brand while still cash flowing it. And it's like we talked about early in the video. We have a fucking cow over here fucking a monkey, and you end up with this weird hybrid mutant thing that doesn't keep customers, but also doesn't make maximum amounts of money. And so this is where people fuck up. You need to ask yourself in your business, where you're at right now, where do you want to go? Do you want to be worth $100, $200 million? Great. You need to be doing this shit over here. You need to stop trying to cash flow like a fucking child and realize you don't get paid like an NBA player. You're an entrepreneur. You grow assets. You don't grow income streams. That's silly. Yes, there are people out there that do that and have cash flow profitable businesses. And there's examples like this out there. For example, OnlyFans or Tether or Pump.Fun. Absolutely shit money. Absolutely shit money. These are weird examples, and you really have to go and build something very quickly that nobody else sees and it blows up. Can you do that? Yeah, sure you can. Sure you can. But the massive value of OnlyFans also comes from its massive valuation as well. So you've got to keep that in mind. And the way to consistently go out there and build huge things is to just do this. And if you look at really smart entrepreneurs, like any of them out there, any of the huge tech entrepreneurs, any of the big tech founders, the ones that have billion-dollar valuations, they never made any income at all during the entire time. But what they did is they grew their asset value. And trust me, when your asset value is $100, $200 million, all you need, if you ever need money, is you just borrow money against it. It's not a problem for Mark Zuckerberg to go and borrow $50, $100 million to buy a yacht and then slowly pay it off at low rates from the little profit that the business makes. That's how they work, and that's how you need to focus on building. So ask yourself, what do you want to do? If you want to cash flow, focus on cash flow. Keep building little micro businesses. Keep building more kind of short-term businesses. Understand you're not going to have, and you shouldn't be focusing on these things over here. Or if you want to reach the high levels, you need to focus on building a business like this. And this is how you go and make a lot of money. You don't want to cross the wires between these things. And this is why this question I get all the time, what should I do with my business? How do I get to the next level? Is weird because you have people trying to build a monkey and a cow at the same time and creating this mutant hybrid thing that doesn't cash flow, which is their objective at the time, but also doesn't grow as a long-term brand either. Do one or the other, one at a time, or focus on one business that cash flows, that funds the other business. This is the way to properly grow, and this is going to make everything way easier for you because you're not trying to do two conflicting things at the same time, and it's going to make you a lot more successful. So that's the video. If you want actual videos on business lessons, running ads, sales, strategies on how I actually grow my businesses, I release all the courses that I used to make on copywriting, ads, everything. It's like $20,000 worth of courses. I give that away for free in my community tab, only to subscribers. You will only see the post if you subscribe. I post it once a month. I keep it up for a day. I take it down. If you want to see that, you need to be subscribed below. Also, you can see the food I'm eating and pictures of me doing things on Instagram at 4 a.m. Becker. You should follow me there because it's sweet. And here's some other videos on how to build your business. For example, there's a video on this channel from getting to 0 to 100K a year, 100K a year to $1 million a year, and $1 million to $10 million per year. They're all on this channel. It's all for free because I'm already rich and I don't need to sell you any courses. So, all right, bye.